Thanks for staying with us. So we'll start with The Nation. Tribunal dismisses PDP's petition in Kaduna poll. Governor, my election upheld, Ashiru to appeal. Obaseki, I forgive Shaibu's aberrant behavior. Governor cautions deputy. Sit-tight leadership breed cool in Africa, says Don at Jonathan's lecture. Government to TUC, NLC, respect court order barring strike. How Southeast can overcome insecurity by governors, leader. Financial reforms ready for unveiling, says Cardoso. Independence, why Nigerians should collaborate with federal government, by Shetima. What stories do we have in The Nation?
You didn't take Obaseki and...
I did, I mentioned it. I forgive Shaibu's aberrant behavior.
So my governor from Edo State has forgiven his deputy. He says he considers what he did an aberrant behavior that is not the way of the people of Edo State. And he counted the behavior that he has forgiven him for. He said, to name a few, the deputy governor needlessly filed an unfounded petition in the Nigerian courts, restraining me, the State House of Assembly, and security agencies from a non-existent impeachment process, followed by repeated breaches of protocol, unwarranted, unprovoked attacks in the media on my person.
Oh, sure.
And the state government. But the one that I did not agree with is that it contradicts the behavior of the people of Edo State. Anybody can fall apart and disagree. But since he has almightily forgiven his
we thank him more.
Thank him.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let there not be quarrel in the Edo State government house. And he did not now mention whether he can revert to his official office in the government house or he should remain in Osadebe Jare quarters. But we'll wait to see if that will be forgiven.
He will tell us,
as
hopefully.
Well.
Yeah. What stories?
Yes, so we had the Good Luck Jonathan Foundation Democracy Dialogue series with the theme Breaking New Grounds in Democracy Development Nexus in Africa. This held in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State yesterday. There were many dignitaries there, governors, former governors, traditional heads, and we had the popular Kenyan scholar, Professor Patrick Lumumba, during his speech. I loved it, and I highlighted it like, Nigerians, we need to hear this. He says, or the whole of Africa actually, he says, good governance is what Africa needs to develop, and the time is now. He also said this sit-tight syndrome among African leaders is responsible for the frequent coups we have in the continent. Then he says that the time is now for Nigeria particularly to rise to the occasion, as 1 in every 5 black men in the world is a Nigerian, and Nigeria must not let us Africans down. He says it's time that we move away from waiting to get like a nod of approval from other heads of states from different continents and countries to feel like we are valued. We have to find like local ways of, directing ourselves and working on ourselves. So really it's a call to Africa and a call to Nigeria. Whether we like it or not, we are a huge number, a large number of black people in the world. And we must lead by example. And if Nigeria progresses democratically, politically, developmentally, in every way, it affects Africa as a whole, and it brings back dignity to our homeland. So I thought it was amazing, his speech, and there were so many other speeches too by other leaders as well.
That's a strong one. No, people have always said that when Nigeria arises, other African countries will follow suit. Yes. They're just waiting to see what Nigeria will do. Toby, have a story.
Yes, how Southeast can overcome insecurity by governors and the leaders. So there was a summit held yesterday in Imo State. It was tagged the Southeast Economic and Security Summit. And it's had in attendance most of the Southeastern governors, and the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Okonjo-Iweala, was also there. Yes. And the Ohanes, the Indigo President General Council leader, was also there. So we had a lot of these stakeholders of the Southeastern states represented. And the former Senate President also was there. And one of the major conversations they said was that for the longest of time, they'd realized that the Southeastern states have been characterized by individualism and divisiveness, meaning that they're always doing their things individually.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at this time, insecurity has to force them to come together to work as a team. Yes. And so all of them are agreeing on that, and they're looking forward to collaborating and doing things together. They say they don't need a 1-year plan or a 10-year plan. They actually need like a 100 years plan to have this issues sorted in the long term. So it's just a call for collaboration also among the Southeastern governors and leaders.
They also need a today plan, now plan. The insecurity is happening now. So we need to decide on how we want to collaborate. But that's a good one. So the new Central Bank of Nigeria governor, Olayemi Cardoso, said yesterday that a new monetary and financial sector blueprint will soon be unveiled. And that blueprint, he said, will serve as framework for implementation of major reforms by the Apex Bank. Then he went ahead to give insight into some guiding principles in the blueprint and assured them that the framework will be released in the coming days. So this happened in a chat with a group of investors in his office. And he went ahead to say that the CBN will do all in its powers to address identified distortions and ensure a conducive atmosphere for different categories of investors. That under his watch, the bank will do its best to tackle impediments to liquidity in the foreign exchange markets in Nigeria. So the English was it was so plenty. What we just want to know is, please, when can the Naira and the dollar not be too far apart? When can the Naira have some...
You know, he addressed that
chest.
issue of a strong Naira as opposed to a stable Naira. Tweeting at you on Monday, I think, on Wednesday, where he said that a stable Naira is even much better than a strong Naira. Let it be stable and you see more investments coming. But this erratic nature
fluctuations
of, you know, Naira going up and down everywhere like that is not good.
We need a stable Naira. We also need a strong Naira. 1,000 to a dollar does not work for us at all. So let's move on now to the Punch. Academic record. Atiku asks courts to overrule Tinubu's objection. Telcos plan different tariffs for calls, data in states. CBN will spend $3 billion loan to stabilize economy. Labour protests as federal government threatens union leaders with contempt charge. Threats won't deter us. We are no cowards, says TUC VP. Governors ask NLC to shelf strike. AGF says strike will be contempt of court. Umahi locks out workers. Protesters cite hardship for lateness. Ogun APC, PDP confident as tribunal rules Saturday. Osun accident, 5 Lautech students driver burnt to death. Federal government targets wealthy Nigerians in new tax drive. What stories do we have in the Punch?
Okay, so yesterday drama happened for Ministry of Works and Housing, where the present Minister for Works and Housing, former Governor Umahi, came into the Ministry of Works at 9:30 and said every worker that had not resumed was late and they locked door. So about 300 staff members, including some directors, were asked to stay outside. And so this was to now call their people inside. That people should see, you are seeing what is happening. You see how the minister is treating us. But there are no ministers before him. And so they too, they decided that we will not greed. We will lock door. They now
lock him inside.
Lock a guy inside.
Ew.
Wow.
But the minister, he has diplomacy. I like that.
Okay.
He too, after a while of all their protests, the videos were online, shouting, "You must come out to address us." He addressed them. He called them.
Who opened for him? Because they locked him in now.
No, he can come and address them now.
Okay, but he cannot leave the premises.
They that they were locked out, now locked everybody in. Their co-workers already inside who had resumed much earlier even joined them. So they're asking for a better treatment and, you know, a better way to address them. And so he addressed them. He apologized. He called them collaborators that they are doing better. And so the matter have ended. But I'm wondering, you know, he had...
No, calm down, you're wondering. You know that's likely to be a hot topic, so we can talk about it. Nima has finished the whole story. Sorry. What other stories do we have in the Punch?
Telcos. I have telcos plan different tariffs for calls and data in states. So what they're saying, Nigerians may soon be paying different prices in different states for calls, data, SMS, and other telecommunication services. This is what is being said by telecommunication firms. And they're saying this is to mitigate against multiple taxation and business environments across the states. So we had the chairman of the Association of Licensed Telecoms Operators of Nigeria, Mr. Benga Adebayo, who was explaining. He says that we have been talking about multiple taxation for many years, and it may not be appropriate to continue to have one national tariff, because if the cost of providing services in one region is high, and services in another region than in other regions, then it should reflect the cost. The price should reflect the cost of production. And then places where there are just so many tariffs, taxes that they are paying makes the cost of production high in that particular state. It would be unfair to have a different cost of production, the tariff to be the same as that where the cost of production is minimal or quite low. So we will be seeing a lot of that going forward. I don't know why I feel... Well, we would like to see... They said that they will be meeting with the new Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, that's Dr. Bosun Tijani, and we'll talk more about this. But I don't know, how do we feel about different tariffs in different locations, different states?
But I think that's the way it works all over the world, yes. Oh. So that's when the more you're making now, you have to sort out the... people are making less.
On us here.
What they're saying is that if government gives us taxes left, right, and center, it's subscribers that we push it on to.
Yes,
so if you are
of
here,
course,
and you know what does that mean? It's Lagos, Lagos subscribers.
So if you want to stay in the city, you know that you hold your money.
Oh, we were born
Let's take a breather now. When we come back, we continue the newspaper reviews. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. So I have the human interest story in the Punch. They said students of the Ladoke Akintola University of Ogbomoso were coming back from a picnic on Thursday, had an accident. Initially, the number was 3 of them died, but afterwards, 3 others who had been taken to the hospital also joined them. And the death toll now rose to 6. So according to the story, it said occupants of the bus were traveling along Osogbo Ifo, or your boundary road, late Wednesday evening, and they were burnt to death in the road crash. The other ones, about 6 of them, were reportedly rescued by operatives of the Oshu ambulance scheme. Those ones responded to the distress call on time, but later on, I think 3 from the rescued ones also died and joined them. So a resident spoke on the matter and said the driver of the bus that was conveying the victims had hit a commercial motorcyclist on his way, had an accident, and so the youths of the town, mob, came out and started chasing him. He was driving in a hurry when his vehicle somersaulted and burnt. They could not even recognize the students that were taken to the hospital. We've always said that this mob issue we have, it doesn't help us, it doesn't serve us, it doesn't work for us. People should calm down. If it's possible to take like a screenshot of his plate number and then go to the police will do their job. Now, in the bid to catch him for killing one person, he killed many other people and also lost his life. It's just a painful one. Do you have another story in the Punch?
The federal government targets wealthy Nigerians in new tax drive. And so this article went on to say that in Africa's most populous nation, that's Nigeria, where a tiny majority enjoy vast wealth, while 2/3 of its 200 million people live in extreme poverty, the numbers suggest widespread tax evasion. And so as a result of this, the federal government is saying that they're now going to shift their attention on the rich, and they're going to burden the wealthy citizens with payment of tax as against the poor people around. And so this is just like the story you took. Yes, saying that, I mean, because even the poorest of the poor are the ones complaining that local government will come, this one will come, collect money, and so the federal government is not saying...
go back and give them waivers on other things.
No, yes. So there are different classes of rich people. We that see ourselves as rich, you're actually the middle class.
Who are the people that see themselves?
Please, everybody on this table is rich. We know our level.
Yes,
but they are the wealthy ones. Those wealthy ones should not be having tax waivers. That's where the problem is. We that we are working, we are paying tax. They take it from our salary. We buy groceries in the supermarket. We pay tax, But those rich, the Dangotes and the rest, are the ones that they waive their tax. The money that they refuse to, you know.
But there's a reason why they do that. So they don't do that just because they are rich. They do that because they are providing employment and so many other things. So those are the
Are we not providing employment? How many staff do you have
percentage of employment
is at our level?
But there's also a tax amnesty, which will be introduced to provide a relief on old debts and prepare the minds of the people to meet for future obligations. So this means that there's going to be an amnesty, so people will come forward also to declare and not just say the rich or you start paying. Exactly. So because if they do that, they will now start backdating. But people want to know that they are safe. There's a danger of overtaxing very rich people. They'll take their businesses to countries where they are not overtaxed.
They will pay taxes in those countries.
They have been taking it for Naira.
They will pay. Let's move on to the Vanguard. Why you can't go on strike? Federal government tells NLC and TUC. To err is human, to forgive divine, says Obaseki as he accepts Shaibu's apology. We've taken that story. Oshodi Apapa, Lagos truckers, stakeholders meet as gridlock worsens. Federal government declares Monday, October 2, public holiday. Independence lecture, your sacrifices won't be in vain, Shetima tells Nigerians. Economic Security Summit, Southeast governors' leaders resolve to end insecurity. Mohbad, I had no hand in singer's death, Naira Marley. Live well, be happy. Death calls on us daily. Reflections on human flourishing in 3 Nigeria by Professor Laguda. INEC laments as 241,715 Bayelsa, Kogi, Imo voters shun PVCs. Burkina Faso detains 4 officers after failed coup. International friendlies, Passero drops Sanusi. Bassi from Eagles squad. We don't like sports here. I don't know if anybody took that story. So what do we have in the Vanguard?
I have the Oshodi Papa. So, of course, you know, I've been talking about the traffic on that axis and on the Badagry Expressway due to tankers in Ijegun as well. And Lagos State yesterday called a meeting amongst them, the state government, representative of the transport union, truckers, and port operators yesterday. In fact, they had everybody seated. The commissioner for transport in Lagos State, Oluwaseun Osiyemi, the special advisor to the governor on transport, Sholagiwa, and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Transport, Abdulafiz Toriola, they all sat with them, the NURTW representatives, the RTE, and that's the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, LASMA, NATO, major oil marketers, the depot owners, everybody, and they sat and gave an 8-man implementation committee. So at the end of the meeting, which lasted over 2 hours, an 8-man implementation committee was created to ensure strict enforcement and monitoring of the new order and agreement reached at that meeting. Also, the Vanguard took report on how worse now the traffic has been. As at this morning, Second Rainbow all the way to Wapapa has been blocked by tankers. In the midst of it, you see terminal operators and their container trying to navigate, some as long as ever, trying to navigate. On the Apapa axis, most of the residents have resorted to using other routes to come in. For those of us living on the service lane side of the Badagry Expressway, who are not at the luxury of living at Yanoba beyond Lasso to use the exit into the middle lane, we are just sitting with them, helplessly at the mercy of whether they try to move. As at this morning, I just gave one 10 minutes. He kept reversing before he decided I could not park and went. The service lane are not parks. The yesterday's meeting, they compelled them to use the different holding bays that they have. They have the Bola Ahmed Tinubu trailer park at Orile Gomo. They have other various holding bays that they use along that road. And they have compelled truckers to also use the Burlington, Davin Parks, among privately owned holding bays around Apapa to relieve the roads of the load that they have. Imagine you leaving for work and just sitting there. Is that what you tell your guy every day? I'm in traffic. For a traffic, so the state is a serious business, and every resident of the state must also feel government. So they should ensure that they don't block the roads. Okay, so the federal government declared Monday, October 2nd, 2023, public holiday in commemoration of Nigeria's 63rd independence anniversary. So the permanent secretary in Ministry of Interior, Dr. Oluwatoyin Akinlade, was the one who said this in a statement yesterday. And the Minister of Interior, Dr. Lubumi Tunji Ojo,
made the declaration in Abuja on behalf of the federal government. So they went ahead to talk about how we can collaborate, you know, they are very long speeches. At the end of the day, we are not going anywhere on Monday, 2nd of October, but that does not affect us. We work all the time.
Yes, I also have this story. It's Naira Marley. We know the former boss for the late Mohbad, Ilerioluwa Aloba. So there's a viral interview where he had with Reno Omokri, the social media commenter and former presidential aide, where he stated his innocence. He says that, and also he went on his social media, that's the Naira Marley himself, they said, absolve himself of any wrongdoing, and also that that interview, many people were able to hear him give his own side of the story. But basically, in summary, he said that Mohbad had always struggled with some mental condition. That there was a video that was played, I think, in the background of that interview where he and Mohbad were in conversation, and Mohbad had talked about killing himself. And, you know, he said, and then when Mohbad had accused them of trying to kill him, he says, why you have just accused us of trying to kill you, and then you're here saying that you want to kill yourself. So there have been issues. He says he's paid for many scans for him, you know, trying to help him with this particular issue that they know that he's always had. He also said that he's willing to come back to Nigeria to stand for himself, but he's afraid for his safety. If the government can assure him that he'll be safe when he comes back, he'll be here in no time. He says that, as we know, a lot of Nigerians are angry with him because of what they believe he may have done or may not have done. So he also has his own story. And then we'll see.
I hope it's not a case of
did he come with
I'm hoping
receipts?
that if he truly had some existing mental health issues,
they should be
and he knew, did he assist him to live an easier life, or wasn't it through their relationship?
I guess we'll see. The hospital visits will show, the doctors will show.
Conversations
Yes, I'm hoping he has receipts.
Yes, receipts are very important.
Receipt is different. Can drop a receipt. But the hospital, which hospital? Can go to the hospital. The doctor visit. Can we check?
They always have a file.
All those things.
Go ahead, Toby.
I have the Shetima tells Nigerians that your sacrifice won't be in vain. And so there was a public lecture yesterday that held at the presidential villa, and it was tagged the 63rd Independence Day anniversary public lecture. And so in his speech, he went on to say that the promises made by the Tinubu administration would be fulfilled. And he went on also to say that the active collaboration of the citizens with the Bola Tinubu administration would be of great benefit to everyone, stating that the vision of renewed hope that this administration has put forward is something that is understandably is something that cannot be achieved in the immediate, and he understands that Nigerians have sacrificed a lot, but we should keep the faith alive, basically. And this lecture held in Abuja, yes, and there were many things he said, but that's majorly the highlight of the conversation.
Yeah. Do we have, our stories are good. I don't think we have the time to take the Tribune. That's all we can take on the newspaper reviews. When we come back, we move on to our hot topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.